We are 10 weeks into the college football season. Your top-ranked Georgia Bulldogs are 9-0, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is one of the best college football defenses of all time. I have tried not to say that for a while, but the more and more I think about it, the more tape I go watch over these recent games, I don't feel bad saying anymore that this is one of the best college defenses, definitely in our lifetime. Absolutely the best defense in 10 years, going back to 2011 Alabama. And I do think this team and this defense has a place on the all-time list of great defenses that we've ever seen. Yes, I know they haven't gone up against a 2019 Joe Burrow-led LSU offense or an Alabama offense that we saw last year. I do think they would score on this Georgia defense. But you know what? This is their year. This is a year where no one else is standing out offensively in college football. And this team is doing everything they can to cement themselves as one of college football's greats of all time. I'm going to go down the list for y'all again. If you don't have the schedule in front of you, season opener against Clemson, they give up 3 points. Next week against UAB, they give up 7 points. Next week against South Carolina, 13 points. Remember, one of those late South Carolina touchdowns was against the second team defensive unit late in the game. Game was already over. It didn't matter. It was a big explosive play and really one of the only ways you can score on this defense. They got one there. Vanderbilt, 62-0, absolute dominance, shutout. Arkansas, 37-0, another shutout. Arkansas would go on to score 50 points, I believe, against Ole Miss the week later. Was not a team that was struggling at offense whatsoever. They were a top 10 team in the country, I believe. I think they were number 8. Absolutely cruising. KJ Jefferson, a lot of people said, was looking like a young Cam Newton. They go into Athens, score 0 points, score 50 the next week. Just shows how good this defense was. Against Auburn the next week, only giving up 10 points. On the road in Jordan-Hare. Awesome performance. Again, they've really held this Tigers offense in Bo Nix for sure. But again, that's not easy to do. Auburn has some talent. Bo Nix, a former 5-star. Tank Bigsby is one of the best running backs I've ever seen out of high school. I love that kid. And they did struggle last week against A&M, no doubt about that. But, through the rest of the season, this team was scoring points. Couldn't do much of anything on Georgia's defense. Kentucky just scored 13 points. 6 of those points came at the very end. Final play of the game, they really wanted to punch it in there and threw a screen. They didn't even try to play power football, taking that last time out. They went for a screen and barely got in. Come on, you got to do better than that. So really, I'd like to take 6 points off of there. But either way, 13 points against an offense, that appeared to be one of the best in the SEC East coming into that game. Didn't do anything against Georgia. Florida, 7 points. We know they couldn't do anything offensively. Total domination again. And again, last week against Missouri, a team who has scored points kind of easily this year. I know they were without Connor Bazelak, but again, 6 points total that Georgia gave up. They've dominated everyone defensively. Yes, the last 2 games, we've seen Florida and Missouri be able to run the ball a little bit. I think Florida outrushed Georgia that game, and I think Missouri had close to 140 rushing yards. Again, most of that came at the end of the game when the second and third team was in. But this first team isn't giving up anything. Occasionally you can get, some type of running game going on, but nobody's passing on this team whatsoever. We've talked about the front 7. The secondary has been lights out too. No one's throwing on this team, and I don't think Tennessee is going to be able to either. But that is the next game, and I'm starting to think, well, not starting, I've kind of felt this way for a couple weeks now, but Tennessee looks like a borderline top 25 team, and they've been scoring, at will this year. Let's go down there. Opening game against Pittsburgh, they scored 34. Then 56 against Tennessee Tech. 14 against Florida, not great, but that was a different Tennessee team if you ask me. 62 against Missouri, 45 against South Carolina, 26 against Ole Miss, just 24 against Alabama, but then they came back 45 points against Kentucky next week, and they have Georgia here. They've got some dudes. Hendon Hooker, close to 1,900 yards so far, but his ability to take care of the football is what I think, has led to Tennessee's kind of resurgence on offense. 21 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. He's also running the ball close to 500 yards, 4 more scores. They can score. If Georgia shuts them down and gives up less than 10 points again, yes, we have to eventually start talking about this team or this defense being one of the best of all time. I know it's not the most talented group, but they're rocking and rolling. They're playing with a lot of confidence, especially offensively. And I do think this offense might give Georgia a little bit more trouble than the rest of the teams that they played so far, because they haven't given Georgia any trouble offensively. So maybe this is the game where Georgia faces a little bit of adversity. They're going to have to do that eventually, right, this season. I don't expect them to blow out everyone, even though they are the clear #1 team in the country. But at the end of the day, you have to give this defense props. There's a lot of future NFL guys on this roster, a lot of 5 stars, a lot of lower ranked players like Latavius Burney and Dan Jackson, and even Christopher Smith, who was on the lower, ranked end of that 2018 class. Everyone's making plays. I wrote about that on Dog Post, how Kirby is developing these guys more and more. They love playing in big moments. They love playing on 3rd down. They get after it, and I think they are going to have a big game once again. If they shut this team out, I mean, what more could you ask from them? But I think Tennessee, might score 13 or 14. That's kind of the, where I'm leaning right now. But either way, do not be surprised if Tennessee gives Georgia's defense a little more trouble than really everyone else has. But at the end of the day, Nakobe Dean is going to be ready. Jordan Davis is not losing any weight anytime soon. He's going to be a force. Jalen Carter, Trayvon Walker, Nolan Smith, the list goes on and on. These guys are playing better and better as the season moves on, I think. I thought the last game against Missouri, even though they did give up 100 yards on the ground, was one of their best efforts so far this season. So if they do continue to play this way, there's not an offense in the country that's going to score definitely more than 30, maybe not even more than 20. I mean, maybe Ohio State could get to 20. Maybe Oklahoma can. Maybe Alabama can. But if they do, that means they're on their A game as well. But overall, if Georgia finishes the season on defense the way they have this regular season so far, it will and should go down as one of college football's best defenses of all time. And it's going to be well-deserved. Guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next video coming up right now, and I'll see you over on the website.